this lady is very, very intelligent. Oh, the way she answered questions about this Natasha Wahala is very, I commend her for that. That's what we call intelligence. That is no bias, all these gender biases, no sentiments. Very smart, direct to the point. Just listen to this woman. Listen to her.
Do you think that the Senate actually handled this issue well?
As someone, as a student of democracy, as someone who watched this democratic process come to play, I will be one of the last people to, on TV, say that the Senate did not handle the process properly. Okay. I believe that the Red Chamber, for what it is, and for who the senators are called as distinguished senators, ought to do what is right, and I want to believe that they did their very best. Now, if you say did they handle it well, the question will be what were they supposed to do? One, refer to the ethics committee. You may not know, but the ethics committee is usually led by opposition senators. Yes, they're led by opposition senators, not the senators of the ruling party. And Senator Natasha Akpoti is an opposition senator. So if the opposition senators, having looked at the matters before them, have been able to say, we are suspending this senator, who is supposed to be one of the minority like them, I would want to believe that they did their due diligence.
Okay, so I asked that question because it looks as if it was a rush. And that's what many people also felt like. You know, it looks as if the ethics committee were just in a rush to just make the matter the way they did. Okay. You know, looking at the fact that, yeah, I know that she had gone, the issue of the sexual harassment had gone, the first time we heard it was on TV, you know, so I know that part, you know, but now coming to the ethics committee, I thought that they were supposed to sit down, deliberate on the issue, and say, okay, we have come out with our findings. Now I also understand the fact that the first one they did was that because of the how she conducted herself, that's why they took that decision. Come on. But some have also said there is also an issue at hand. Which is? Because, yeah, there's also an issue at hand.
Okay. When an issue happens in a chamber like the Red Chambers, the Senate, there are procedures to go about it. And the procedures do not include the fact that the first thing to do is to run to the media. Media trials across the world are usually emotional because people do not weigh the circumstances, you know, fairly. The fact that a distinguished senator would believe that the first thing to do is to run to the media already negates and embarrasses the Senate as it is. Because there are channels. There are ways to go about these things when you feel that way. If you indeed if indeed you have been sexually harassed, there are ways to have done it from the very beginning. I mean, from 2023, when it happened, you should have reported ordinarily to the Senate, to the Ethics Committee. You should. There's a police post in the Senate, in the maybe National Assembly.
Maybe things were rosy at the time.
So now, if you say things were rosy, that means it was not an harassment. No, if you say things were rosy, it means that at some point somebody felt that this was good for me and there was no need to talk about it. And in that case, you cannot call it an harassment.
Okay.
So if you say maybe things were, what you're saying in essence is that there is a great possibility that it was asked for, which we cannot say in this situation. However, if you were harassed 2 years ago, the first thing to do would have been to make a report. And if you were not making a report 2 years ago, it shouldn't be the reason why you won't sit on your seat and want to speak from a wrong seat.
But there's already a report. She has already broken the report. She has already broken the silence.
At what point?
It doesn't matter.
No. See,
It doesn't
no,
matter.
it does matter. At the point where you make a report is when we can now wade in. So if you make that, now, I'll be honest with you. Sexual harassment is a very worrisome issue.
It's a big deal.
Especially for women.
Yeah.
Especially sexual predatorship. Where people who feel that because they have some form of power above you want you to do something because of what they want from you in the other room, right? It's a big issue.
Yeah.
However, when you want to tackle such issues, it's something you must be careful with. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. If Senator Natasha Akpoti spoke from her seat, I say it again, spoke from her seat as a senator who understands the rules of the red chambers, the Senate chambers.
But she said she was not notified.
If at that point, let's backtrack. If at that point the Senate President says, "Oh, Senator Uduaghan, you are not speaking from your seat," I would expect that she would move to her seat, and then are you following me?
Yes,
Because these things need to follow a logical process. She would move to her seat and then request to speak again. If she then requests to speak again and is not given an opportunity to speak, all Nigerian women should rise to their feet and decide that the men are deliberately trying to silence us. You must follow the rules. Rules are made so that we don't have a chaotic society. And if you want to break the rules in a place like the Senate chambers where you are supposed to be making the rules, it destroys the whole essence of what the legislative chambers are about. So I would have expected that she would have moved to her seat on that same day, fuming, possibly because she's upset, right? And then request to speak again. And then let her be shut up. And then you now see all the women rising. That's the situation for me, right? Yeah. That's where it stands for me. I would hope that, moving forward, more women would understand that we're up against a lot already. And so we must be at our best behavior every time the world is watching. And lastly, media trials are not the best. Because what you're doing is, I can imagine if the Senate President too starts to run to the different media houses, including international media, to say, "Oh, I am being harassed. I am being," I don't think that's fair if you have an ethics committee in the House. Internationally, Germany, Al Jazeera, everywhere, people are looking at Nigeria in a way that they shouldn't, because I don't think that is right.
All right. Interesting. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You had your day today.